Liberal media is in panic mode. The latest blow to the mainstream media industrial complex, vicious Trump critic Rosie O'Donnell confirming that she fled the country after President Trump's return to the Oval Office. Does anybody even miss that lady? The former host of The View said that she's living in Ireland now, and she's in the process of applying for Irish citizenship. And yeah, most of us know Rosie O'Donnell has been sparring with President Trump since 2006. That's why it's so funny when it was brought up in a press conference with the president and the Irish prime minister. All Trump had to say was, "You're better off not knowing Rosie." And yeah, I couldn't agree more, because that woman was just so toxic on television. I don't know if she's worse than Joy Behar or Whoopi Goldberg or what. I just wish all the liberal celebrities who promised to actually leave would actually follow through on their promise like she did, you know? And on that note, The View co-host Whoopi Goldberg fell flat on her face on national television when she basically tried revising history. She claimed that President Donald Trump ruined former President Joe Biden's economy without once mentioning high prices or the record high deficit. A very robust economy, she called it. She credited the Biden administration for adding nearly 16 million jobs to the U.S. economy, though she failed to mention that it was largely a result of the U.S. recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Then, of course, Whoopi Goldberg also didn't mention that inflation rose to a peak of 9% during the Biden administration, and that the deficit reached record-breaking levels mainly due to the previous White House's high spending. Now, if that's what she calls a robust economy, then she definitely needs to go ahead and follow Rosie's example next. Another one, NBC News White House reporter Kelly O'Donnell's attempted to guilt trip President Donald Trump for firing nearly half of the federal employees at the Department of Education, but he wasn't falling for it. Instead, he sharply pointed out that they're keeping the best employees who conduct their jobs efficiently. MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle did the same thing to Democratic Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. She was trying to push the senator to criticize the so-called oligarchy under President Donald Trump's administration. But Fetterman, he wasn't biting either. He said it really doesn't follow their wealth for him. It just follows some of these kinds of core beliefs and things that they're willing to push and to do. In short, even Democrats are having a falling out with their liberal mainstream media allies. I mean, there's no better proof than one of their most rabid attack dogs leaving the country, right? So here's Rosie O'Donnell confirming that she's fled America scared of Trump. Watch.
Well, hey everybody, it's me, Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. It's Tuesday all day, as my Nana would say. And I'm here in Ireland. And it's beautiful and warm, not physically, it's actually quite cold. Moved here on January 15th, and it's been pretty wonderful, I have to say. The people are so loving and so kind, so welcoming, and I'm very grateful. I'm in the process of getting my Irish citizenship, as I have Irish grandparents, and that's what's going on, and that's where I've been and what I've been doing. And although I was never someone who thought I would move to another country, that's what I decided would be the best for myself and my 12-year-old child. And here we are. Here we are.
So take note, guys, she was only able to bring her 12-year-old daughter out of her 5 children, the only minor among them at that. I mean, what does that say to you? That the other adult children didn't agree with her liberal mom? Now, as President Trump said during his meeting with the Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin, he's better off not knowing her. Here, check this out.
Are you trying to confirm, Mr. President? This, Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
That's true. Thank you. I like that question. Do you know you have Rosie O'Donnell? Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is?
Yeah. I'm joking.
You're better off not knowing.
Now, honestly, it doesn't even really look like he even knew who Rosie O'Donnell was, and that was what was so funny about it, you know? Maybe Ireland should put a 100% tariff on Rosie O'Donnell, and she should be the only one to pay it, you know what I mean? So yeah, Rosie O'Donnell herself confirmed that she is now living in Ireland and is in the process of applying for Irish citizenship. She says the people have been so loving, so kind, and so welcoming. Yeah, probably because they don't know her yet. So is Rosie O'Donnell finally keeping her promise, or is this just another liberal meltdown? Type good riddance if you think America is now better off without her, or liberal meltdown if you believe that this is just another overdramatic tantrum. Because seriously, the amount of poison that Trump has endured from this woman throughout the years, the two have been involved in a feud since 2006 after she criticized him on The View about his decision to be lenient toward a Miss America winner who had been accused of drug use and other bad behavior. Now, at the same time, he said of Miss USA Tara Conner that he's a believer in second chances and that Tara is a good person, so she's going to be given a second chance. Now, at one point in 2014, O'Donnell told People magazine their feud involved the most bullying that she's ever experienced in her life. But Rosie O'Donnell stepped up her Trump critiques during his first presidential run and win. She even jokes about it with Seth Meyers in 2017. She said she spends about 90% of her working hours tweeting hatred toward his administration. Her last hurrah before leaving would be her TikTok rant on Thanksgiving, where she warned people that Trump is not a sane person, that he's a madman. Yeah, mad for America, maybe. And of course, the liberal standard, when democracy falls, fascism takes its place. So yeah, basically calling Trump a fascist yet again, as if we haven't heard that 100 times from these same people. But what was especially disturbing for me was how Rosie O'Donnell kept inciting her fans to go against the government, even though she herself fled the country. She told the people watching to stand up, to use their voice, to protest, to demand that they follow the Constitution in our country and not a king, not a man, and they don't have cruelty as part of their governing style. I mean, sure, while she says that she and her daughter are happy in Ireland and enjoying exploring the country, as she put it, she just felt that they needed to take care of themselves. So that doesn't really give her any ground to tell Americans what to do in our country. At least that's what I think. So President Trump himself dismissed the whole thing and just joked about it with the Irish Prime Minister. You're better off not knowing. Haha, classic, right? White House spokesperson Taylor Rogers was the one who commented on it and said there was no love lost over her departure. It was a pretty short comment too. He said, "Promises made, promises kept, good riddance." I mean, good riddance to bad rubbish, right, guys? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, guys. Hit the like button if I'm making sense to you guys. And while you guys are at it, you can also subscribe to the channel and tap that notification bell if you haven't already. That way you can stay updated on our latest content. If you're still trading your time for money, you're playing the wrong game. The system is rigged against you. It's designed to keep you working harder while the wealthy pay less and own more. I mean, think about it. The government takes more of your paycheck in taxes. The rich use wealth transfer loopholes to get richer. The middle class gets squeezed with new policies like the unrealized gains tax. Now, I used to think hard work alone was the answer until I realized that the game is different for those who know the truth. Now, I cracked the code to escape the grind, and I'm revealing everything inside the Liberty Pursuit Network, guys. This is where real conversations are happening. Now, if you're serious about building financial freedom, escaping the rat race, and living life on your own terms, doors are closing soon. Will you be on the inside, or are you going to be left behind? All right, let's continue. Now, another Trump critic who promised to leave the country was Whoopi Goldberg, and yet she's still here. She said she would leave if Trump won the election. Well, he won. I don't know if she got the memo. I guess we could just add that to the list of lies that she's spoken on national television, huh? So her latest lie, when she claimed President Trump ruined Biden's wonderful economy. Here, check this out.
Which some MAGA folks are blaming on the Biden economy.
Oh, boy.
So let me just remind you about the Biden economy, okay? The economy added 16.6 million jobs and gross domestic product grew 12.6. They are the only administration in history to have created jobs every single month.
Yes.
They achieved... Wait, there's more. They achieved the lowest average unemployment in 50 years.
Yeah.
Wealth adjusted for inflation rose a record 37% for the median American household. And Americans filed a record 21 million new small business applications, the most in any presidential administration. You came in to a very robust, there were issues, there's always going to be issues, but you can't blame all what's happening on him.
No.
Okay, so there's such a thing as lying by omission. Some fact Whoopi conveniently omitted here were prices of gas, energy, groceries, and other necessities soared throughout the former president's term. Much of the Biden presidency was blemished by stubborn inflation, with prices increasing to 20% in May of 2024 during his term. Plus, the consumer price index rose from 1.4% at the beginning of his term to a peak of 9.1% in June 2022. I mean, ask most working class Americans and they'll tell you that they were worse off during the Biden administration. I mean, why else would the economy prove to be the top issue for voters in the 2024 election? It was even the issue Trump ran on that won him huge support from Latinos, black, and blue collar workers. But nope. Whoopi Goldberg just ignored all of that in her unhinged rant, saying that Trump inherited what she called a very robust economy. I mean, sure, if you ignore how the Biden administration's excessive spending just further fueled inflation, including the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, the $750 billion Inflation Reduction Act, which really didn't do anything to help reduce inflation. And take note, the only robust thing that Biden left Trump is the record high $711 billion federal deficit for the first quarter of the 2025 fiscal year, and a national debt that reached $36.17 trillion just days before he left the White House. Yeah, so to Whoopi, I think it's time to consider Ireland. Wouldn't you agree? Because President Trump, he just keeps hitting it out of the park. Just watch how he masterfully sniffs out his reporter's attempt to guilt trip him over firing federal employees. Here's a clip.
Sir, would you describe for us, is this meeting your vision by cutting about half the workforce? And what responsibility do you feel to the civil servants who have now lost their jobs? Many of them worked at the Department of Education during the first term.
Sure, I do. I feel very badly, but many of them don't work at all. Many of them never showed up to work. Many of them never showed up to work, Kelly. And unfortunately, that's not good. And when we cut, we go, and that's what I had a number of meetings with a lot of people over the last couple of months. When we cut, we want to cut, but we want to cut the people that aren't working or not doing a good job. We're keeping the best people. And Linda McMahon is a real professional, actually a very sophisticated business person. And she cut a large number, but she kept the best people. And we'll see how it all works out. But our country was run very badly. I mean, whether it was that or contracts that were signed that was so bad, so obviously bad. And I go through them in speeches. I could go through them all day long. I could read for billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. And all of that fat and waste and fraud and abuse is being taken out. But it's incredible what's happened. Now, Department of Education's maybe more so than any other place has a lot of people that can be cut. They're, number one, not showing up to work. Number two, they're not doing a good job. And if you take a look at our education process, and if you look at the charts, because they have numerous charts where they do the top 40, we're at number 37, 38, 39, and 40. And recently they hit, during Biden's last few days, they hit last. So they were number 40, and yet we're number one in cost per pupil.
Okay, first off, when did Biden ever sit down like this and just answer questions from the press, right? I don't even remember. Like, did he ever do it? So yeah, by the way, that was NBC News White House reporter Kelly O'Donnell trying to trick the president with a very pointy question. I mean, just listen to how she phrases it. Is this meeting your vision by cutting about half the workforce? And what responsibility do you feel for the civil servants who have now lost their jobs? Many of them worked at the Department of Education during your first term, but President Trump didn't even miss a beat. He said he does feel very badly, but many of them don't work at all. He also pointed out that they're keeping the best people, and Education Secretary Linda McMahon is a real professional, a very sophisticated business person, and she cut a large number, but she kept the best people. Now, after that, he reiterated his vision for the department. They're going to move education into the states so that the states, instead of the bureaucrats working in Washington, can run education. So like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and even China, who Trump says does very well in education. So yeah, I would call that a presidential showdown, wouldn't you guys? Okay, last one for the day. Democratic Senator John Fetterman, he's taking a page out of President Trump's playbook and not letting MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle bait him into negative commentary. Here, watch.
Trump is surrounded by the wealthiest cabinet, the wealthiest administration in modern U.S. history. Does this concern you?
Not I don't think it's so much about their wealth. It's just because they might have some kind of the views or some things that I don't agree, and they would push a lot of decisions and changes in our government that I wouldn't support or would like to see happen in there too. So it doesn't really follow their wealth. For me, it just follows some of these kinds of core beliefs and the things that they're willing to push and to do.
What about this idea that we're sort of creating American oligarchs?
Yeah, and I would ask Democrats, like, start talking like a regular person. Most people are not sure what an oligarch is. You know, it's like, okay, is an oligarch, is it a rich dude or woman? Okay, well, but there's also a little secret too. Democrats, you know, we like billionaires if they're giving to our causes or to our party as well too.
But there's a difference. Hold on. There's a difference between a very wealthy
unlimited
donor.
money. It's unlimited money. That's the poison of American democracy. Get rid of unlimited money, and then that would render billionaires on either side to those kinds of a thing. And so remember, a lot of these billionaires that were in tech, they used to be more friendly to the Democratic interest in our party as well too. So,
but there's a difference.
Unlimited money, get rid of that, and that would transform America more than any single other decision.
Absolutely. We are 15 years and 2 months since the Citizens United decision, and it has changed politics.
Okay, some context here. So Rule was trying to goad Fetterman to condemning the so-called oligarchy under Trump's administration, pinpointing about how the president selected at least 13 billionaires to join his administration, the wealthiest in modern history. But yeah, the senator just wasn't having it and instead focused on ideological differences and political contributions, saying that he doesn't think it's so much about their wealth. It's just because they might have some kind of views or some things that he doesn't agree with. And they would push a lot of decisions and changes in our government that he wouldn't support or would like to see happen in there too. I mean, really, makes sense, right? It's all about the policies, not the people at the end of the day. And for Rule, who kept insisting on the idea of American oligarchs, Fetterman put her in her place, saying that the Democrats should not use the word oligarch because the majority of Americans don't even really appreciate the message behind it. Plus, he brought up a very good point that Democrats themselves like billionaires if they're giving to their causes or to their party as well too. He said that getting rid of unlimited money would transform America more than any single other decision. So yeah, there you go, guys. Another hot and bothered liberal journalist not being able to rile up a lawmaker as goodness intended. But what do you guys think? Is mainstream media finally being put in their place under Trump's administration? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below. Let's get a conversation started. Also, more updates like this one in the recommended videos at the end. Definitely check those out too. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.